Fear not, for you are found. You are home, and there is no going back. No one leaves this place. But what is this place? The answer is Tux Nation. Surrounded by a strong, positive community, Tux Nation lives on the edge of the known and unknown. It is the collection point for all gamers searching to be part of something greater, like you. And here you are significant. You are valuable. Here you are loved. And no one loves you more than the TuxedoBandido. He is the original, the first player one, the creator of the Players Club and the father of the Bandidos. Where once you were Han Solo, now you are part of something. You are part of the Bandidos. Congratulations. You will meet the TuxedoBandido in 5 seconds. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. You are now meeting the TuxedoBandido.
TGIF Bandidos. It is almost 7 o'clock, September 29th. TGIF, meaning it is Friday, and I'm streaming live from the Pacific Northwest, and we got some news. I hope you're all excited about it. If you haven't heard, it was announced on Twitter, which is the division's platform of choice to make their announcements, that the new season is coming this Tuesday. That's right. So year 5, season 2 is dropping on Tuesday. And on Monday, we'll be live streaming the reveal. So we'll find out everything that we're going to get in more detail, that is, on Monday. So they'll be streaming that. And I think Yannick is back in the picture here to help us with this stuff. I don't know if that's temporary or if he's going to be full-time sticking with it. But that's because we have lost Morten Ryberg, who was typically leading the way, or who was leading the way before he departed. And so with season 2 comes the new exotic that we're all anticipating, and it's called the Ouroboros exotic SMG, which is based off of the Vector. And so we're all really excited. And so what we know so far, okay, so it could be different from the PTS, but we don't know yet. So in the PTS, it was basically the tactical Vector we're seeing here, and it looks a little bit different because it's got a foldable stock on it. It's a tactical Vector. They made it faster and they gave it a bigger mag. In exchange, they took away your damage talent and instead gave you this ability to transform your bullets into status effect bullets based on the status effect you receive. So that's kind of a cool thing, kind of annoying because it could also change, right? So like, let's say you're really excited because you got your riot foam bullets and you're like, God damn it, somebody just caught me on fire. Now I got fire bullets, but you know, it's all good. It'll be good. And so really looking forward to this SMG. And what's nice about SMGs is they got elevated crit chance, which makes it really easy to run on your crit build, right? So the other thing is, what we understand is that this weapon will be locked behind the new excursion, sort of what we anticipated and mentioned in previous streams, and I'm cool with that. That's actually pretty easy way to acquire an exotic, because then you don't have to level up through the whole rewards track to level 80 and kind of grind to get it, which is possible to do in a day or two anyways, but I think it's cool to do it through the incursion, which is the new game mode we're getting, right? So we got a new game mode in season 1, which was Descent, right? So let me see here. Let me pop open that map. So Descent is a new game mode that we got in season 1. We're getting some changes to it in season 2. We'll talk about those later. But in season 2, we're also going to get this new incursion. And what's really neat about the incursion is that some details have been discovered that it's going to be a 4-man incursion, not an 8-man, and that is great news. Because I've been saying though, so basically the power plant, Penco, is basically an incursion, right? You run in there, you know, it's like a mini raid. The mechanics aren't difficult, so you don't have to coordinate anything. You just kind of run and kill everything and run in a circle, basically. But why is it so annoying? Why don't I play the Penco mission very often? You know, and it's a good farm, and that's the only reason why I do it. But outside of that, it's not fun for me. And the reason why is because the enemies are so tanky. And that's like one of the downsides of the division altogether, right? Is that really any shooter, really. Any PvE shooter. And that's because a lot of games haven't figured out, nobody has figured out that magical equation on how to keep the power creep, you know, keep the fun game by keeping the NPCs in balance with the user. And so they just kind of default to, well, let's just make the enemy really powerful, bullet spongy, so, you know, and then kind of make them dumb. That's basically what they do, right? They make them dumb and bullet spongy. And the Division 2 makes them not so dumb and very bullet spongy. So that combination is really annoying, right? And so, because in other games where the enemy is dumb and bullet spongy, at least they're stupid and you can like outflank them, or, you know, they'll panic, or they won't shoot at you. They'll be shooting at something else, you know, something stupid like that, right? And so, but in the Division 2, they're pretty fucking smart, and they start, you know, pelting you with grenades and drones and flanking you and sending tanks and whatever. And then at the same time, you know, it takes like 10 mags to kill something, you know, and so it's like, that's really annoying. And then you go into this mission, okay, and it's even worse. Now it's easy because there's 8 of you and you're kind of running around with pack instincts, right, and just killing everybody 8 versus 1, 8v1, but that also takes away from the fun. Don't you want to get your own kills sometimes? You know what I mean? And when you do go and get your own kills, the enemy is so tanky, it's also not fun. So it's just like, oh my god, he's so tanky. It's just like, I'm running the most powerful build in the game, and look how many bullets it takes to bring this guy down. And it's because there's 8 people. That's my point, circling back. So there's 8 people in this manhunt, or excuse me, in the Penco, and that makes it a poor experience, right? And like, even if you look at the normal raids, right, like Iron Horse or whatever, so like those, their enemies are actually at a level like challenging. I don't know if you knew that. They're basically at like challenging level, so they're not even heroic enemies, not legendary enemies. But 1v1, they do take a lot of shots to bring down, right? And so that's why you see players who are covering a door sometimes have a hard time and can get overrun, is because they take so many bullets to bring down, even though 3 enemies come out of that door, which should normally not be a problem. I mean, in heroic content, it's not a problem, right? But it's because there's 8 players, and so their health pool just really goes up. And that's really annoying. And no matter if you're playing on challenging or hard or even story mode, the enemies all hit really hard. So from a power delivery, from what you can take in the form of power, you're always, you know, you can't take shit for damage in this game, really. Unless you build into that kind of build with some sort of tank or a really good regen armor on kill build, which means these enemies can't be as spongy, right? And so you don't see a lot of people playing like that in raids or 8-man group builds. So, like, for example, when I go into Penco, like, I don't run any on-kill builds. So damage on kill, armor on kill, I don't. And so my favorite builds in here are things like Striker and Heartbreaker, things that don't require a kill to get the buff. They require hits to get the buff. Just because you might not get the kill, you got 7 other players shooting at that one enemy. And then he's so bullet spongy, like by the time you get each kill, your buff will expire, because most buffs are 10 seconds. So, you know what I mean? So we don't want to see 8-man groups gameplay in this game. I know it sounds exciting, but it's just not. It's not practical. From not just the bullet spongy enemy perspective, but also from finding a good group. Right. And so one of the other things that happens in Penco is you got people dropping out and shit like that because there's 8 people you're dealing with. Right. You're corralling cats, basically. Right. And it all sorts of different attention spans, and people got responsibilities. They got to go, whatever. The randos, right? And you have much better success. It's not perfect in a 4-man team, but you know, you have better success in a legendary, for example, with a 4-man team, with even if you're random matchmaking where people just aren't bouncing all the time. Maybe a little bit, but not so bad. I have good luck, at least. And so I'm really excited about the Incursion being a 4-man team. That means you can be able to play with your clan, your little buddies, and you're not going to have to like bring in too many randos unless you want to, because if you're a solo player. And then when you do hook up with randos, you're probably going to have some pretty good luck on finishing the Incursion without people kicking you out of the team or somebody dropping out midway through and making it harder for you. Because when somebody drops out midway through, then you get some of these things you can't match make halfway once you start. And so it's either you finish difficult and maybe not finish because you lost a player, or you have to quit and start over so that you can matchmake and add back a person that you lost. So there's not usually an autofill on incursions. We'll see. That could change. Maybe that's a feature that we'll see here. We don't know yet. So how does this all relate to the SMG? Well, the exotic SMG is locked behind this new incursion, like I mentioned earlier. So, and from what I understand, and this is all through Twitter feeds, right? So none of this is like official, but this was something that they replied to, was that the exotic can be received through caches from the incursion. And so that's interesting. We don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, you know, but they said it was plural caches through the incursion. So maybe you beat the incursion and there's a cache system at the end of it. Maybe there's a currency. Do you guys have any intel on this? Any more than what I'm talking about? Let me know if you guys have heard anything more than what I've heard. But that's all we know, is that there's caches, and so it could be a vendor system. So where, like Countdown, where we have the vendor, and maybe you have currency from the new game mode, and you could spend it on exotic caches, and maybe these are titled caches, like it might say incursion cache, or something like that. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. But they did say caches. Now, maybe we don't know if it's a language thing. It's on Twitter. Twitter's so informal, so I'm just careful on what we rely on from there. But boss drops in a chest at end. Yeah. That could be cool. Yeah. Like a raid. I mean, if it's like a raid, that should be simple, because incursions aren't very long, right? I mean, what do you guys think it's going to take? 20 minutes? About? You know, I don't know, but yeah, that's interesting. So we'll see on Tuesday, or learn about it on Monday. So we'll be doing a live stream on Monday. So the live stream will kick off, I think it's 7:30 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. So I'll probably be streaming earlier, just to kind of do a pep rally. Let's see here. It's 7:30 a.m. is when they start, and then they usually have a 15-minute window. So that's when they start their 15-minute waiting window usually, but who knows? Things could change. So we'll just say 7:30, which means I'll probably start streaming at 6:30. That's in the a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So anyway, so how that translates is the Division news will start at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard, 10:30 Eastern Time, and so on and so forth, 16:30 Central European. So yeah, really exciting. So that's good. So why is this? What makes me happy about this? So we were talking about this, I think, in the last stream, where I was saying, hey, there's a couple of things that will really disappoint me in this game, and one of them is, you know, because they changed the season schedule, right? And so we haven't seen an updated calendar for the season yet, but fine. But what I said is they did it because they needed more development time to make sure they had a quality release. I can respect that. It was just really bad timing, and like we discussed, in that and that, you know, we had some good energy roll into the Division 2, and it just really drags it out. You know what I mean? It drags the season out. Especially with events that aren't that fun. Like half of the events that they awarded us were just not really, nobody plays them, right? And so it's just, you know, it's kind of a drag, and 2 weeks of one event is kind of much. You know, it's a lot. It's good for the grind. So if you're a new player, I could say, you know, you definitely exploit it, and I get that. But for players that don't need to grind so much, or that aren't interested in grinding, you know, 2 weeks of golden bullets is a little much, right? I mean, it's something that's just like you want, you don't want. But what I want is, you know, we have to keep that gear flowing. We have to keep the content flowing. But, you know, gear and stuff like that, new weapons and whatever, so we can create builds and whatever. So you got to keep things flowing. You know what I mean? And so I hope with the new schedule, that they build some other things in to make it pace out better, so it doesn't just drop off. Because that's what I hate the season schedule, the way they're set up. Is it's like as soon as the manhunt's complete, I mean, it just drops off on users, right? People just log out and then they don't come back for like, until the next season. And so, if that means people are going to be beating the season, we don't know what's the schedule's going to look like, but I hope they pace it out. And I hope that it's not just filled with junk, global events that we're all kind of sick of playing at this stage, but, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, my expectations are low though. So, so I'm not expecting a bunch of new things. I'm not. So I think for the best thing we can hope for at this stage is that the changes that they make to Descent makes it more engaging. Because it's got a lot of potential in there. It really does. You can have a bad first impression, but it's a good game mode. It is a lot of potential. But there's some serious things that need to be tweaked, and we've talked about that before. And so the incursion is the other piece. We need mega replayability out of that. It can't just be a farm, it's got to be fun. fun, where you're just like, I want more challenging and interesting, and you know what I mean? So it's got to be casual, and it's got to be balanced, so it's not too casual, right? And so we'll see. And so I'm already seeing good things. The fact that they said 4-man teams, that's already good news for me. I'm like, holy shit, big deal. That's a big deal for me. Because Countdown has always been, Countdown's all right. If it wasn't 8 guys, it would be like, of course you can go in there with your own 4-man team, but nobody's going to do that. You just don't do that, And so it's just not something you do, but you can. I don't know. We got to try it. I haven't tried it. But anyways, so yeah, it's already good news. But, and then we got the exotic chess piece coming. That'll probably be on the, what's up, Sheer? Scarproof? Renclaw? Grumpy in the house, AG. What's up, boys? Sick Jim, everybody. Destroyer of words. I think that yeah, so that's what's going to help the new season schedule. And I think, because I'm sure they haven't had enough time to rebuild the new season setup. And we're not going to see a new season setup until basically season 4, which they're calling seasons 2.0. So we are going to see a new season setup, and they're calling it seasons 2.0. So, but that's going to be when we turn over to next year. So sometime in like April, May, probably May. So... Anywho, should we talk about this vector dealio here? So what I realize is that we've been playing this vector build for Golden Bullet, and I think I have Golden Bullet on. And what I thought about is like, it sort of stands as is, okay, for the Ouroboros, but this is going to be my Ouroboros build. And... this is a build that I actually created in season 10, and I really, really, really like it. We've been playing it, and it's been very fun over the last couple of days. What up, OG? And so what I'm thinking is that I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, we're running it with a damage talent, and that's something that the Ouroboros isn't going to have. And so I was like, so what if we put together a build and we stripped away the damage talent into something that's, I was thinking like fast hands. And the reason why is because the Ouroboros is going to come with a bigger mag, and technically it's faster too. So, we can't really do much there to manipulate it, except for take off damage to targets out of cover and put on more RPMs there. But that's a small roll. And measure does give you more RPMs, but it also gives you some sort of damage, which is somewhat negligible damage in the end. But I figured maybe we can run like fast hands and give it a fast reload, so that'll help it feel like it's got an unlimited mag. Not an unlimited mag, but a bigger mag. So we don't know if this thing is if they're delivering it as is, as we'd experienced in the PTS, but I suspect they are. I do. I know. But I mean, I think it's on par with the what do you call it? St. Elmo's. I think it's on par with the St. Elmo's. I do. From a DPS perspective, it's gonna be better, but St. Elmo's is got a better talent on it. You know, you just have shock ammo, and it just takes hits to. There's no downside, right? It just takes. You just have to shoot to get it. Where on Ouroboros, you have to get a status effect applied to you in order to earn it. That's technically a downside. You know, not one that we mind too much because it's going to happen anyways, right? So here's fast hands. So this crits are going to give us a reload bonus. So you could do this. You could also do steady hands and then steady handed and then get a free reload. But I think this will be more comparable. And so that'll to pull off some of the power off of this and then kind of move it to the sustaining side of things for DPS. And then if we wanted to be on par with the DPS that Ouroboros has, we would need more RPMs, which we're not really practically able to do. So that's going to be the only difference here in this build. And so I figured we run this, test it out without this and see if we like it with the amount of armor we got going on. And protection from elites. And then when we're done with this, which just won't take very long at all, maybe just a couple of tweaks with and without the game mode on, I'm going to get back because we got a couple of interesting pieces. We were working on a rigger build, and yeah, that sounds unusual, right? Somebody's working on a rigger build. Yup. So yeah, because we were toying around with the gear sets and some reviewing stuff, which I put on hold till next season because I need that tip of spear backpack. But I was thinking like, holy crap, I could actually make a better unlimited decoy build with for a sniper without having to run the mantis. And so that's the build we're working on to do that. And so we kind of left it in a concept theory place just because I didn't have very good pieces. And so yeah, we're going to get to that next. Let's see what the map looks like, by the way. Aces, masks. We can go up here. Let's reset the control points and let's go kill some annoying ass hyenas. They are annoying. They're not very fun to fight. Their sniper turret hits pretty damn hard, doesn't it? Yeah, October 2nd. Yeah, is the new season, if I didn't say that. Thank you. That's the 2nd. That's Tuesday. And so on Monday the 1st, we'll be live streaming the reveal. Finally, huh? Did it feel, what do you guys think? Did it feel like, for me, it felt like forever. The extended season thing, oh, it's killing me, man. It's killing me. I mean, I'm pretty laid back, but I just feel like, man, you know, that extra month is just drags it out. You know, seasons are already long in concept, I think, you know? Yeah, lots of people are taking work off for Tuesday so that they can grind. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I love the enthusiasm, but last season we had that fucking delay, remember? Oh my God. I mean, it was technically like a 3-day delay, you know, do you remember? And I felt so bad because so many of you guys took the day off and I was like, oh, and you couldn't even log into the game. So it's not like the new season didn't drop. It was that you couldn't even get into the game. And I was just like, oh, what? Wow. That sucked. That's the second glitch I've had since login. I dealt with it like right away, right when I logged in. Oh, it's Tuesday the 3rd? Oh, Tuesday is the 3rd. Wait a second. Let me look at my calendar here. I mean, the Twitch post. Oh yeah, they're releasing it on a Wednesday. I just caught that. What is going on? Thanks for that. Yeah, they're releasing it on a Wednesday. That's weird. But whatever. It's just tended to be on Tuesdays because that's when they have their scheduled patches, but the maintenance patches. But it's been really inconsistent, anyways. I know. Bring on Division 3, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. That's good. I mean, I'm still in shock about the Division 3 thing, you know. I mean, that's the final solution, you know. There's a lot. The reason why is because there's a lot of learnings and industry changes since this game came out, you know. And unfortunately, don't you guys always feel like Ubisoft is one step behind all the trends? And so they redevelop for the trend, and the new trend comes out, and they're like, you know, they're like 5 years behind. Either way. Yeah, but they need a new season, a fresher season model, that's for sure. But, you know, there's so much that we've learned from this game and that they've built in through patches and whatever. And one of the things is... The casualness, the new game modes. I mean, remember how not casual this game started out, right? Building some stacks. All right. So yeah, so we're testing this. The question is, how is this gonna feel? And of course I got the golden bullet on, so it'll change without the golden bullet. Oh, that hurt. I got a fucking damn. I had a decoy out there. He's shooting over it. I'm coming.
Reinforcements incoming.
So we want to pop our shield. It's an offensive shield, so what we're looking for is that damage, especially when we have multiple enemies in front of us. Come on, give me the head. Having a fast reload is nice. It kind of makes me wonder about the Ouroboros. I think about it. Why not just take a non-exotic version and put on fast hands? I mean, the speed at RPMs is obviously a differentiator, so there's more to it than that. But from the mag perspective, I mean, and obviously you got the strange talent. But I don't know. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure we're going to be interested in the talent as much. What do you guys think? How do you feel about the talent? I mean, it's there and it's going to be, yeah, it's nice to have, but I don't think it's as exploitable as the St. Elmo's is. I think the St. Elmo's is better from a talent perspective, no doubt, because you can exploit the shit out of that, and you kind of have to do some funky things in order to exploit your talent on the Ouroboros, right? You gotta status effect yourself, which is kind of nuts. I mean, wouldn't it be cool if you could have the Ouroboros with the talent that's changeable? I mean, oh, I'd be excited about that. Imagine putting, imagine putting on fast hands on the Ouroboros. Holy shit! I've always liked fast hands. It's a really good talent if you haven't used it. I mean, I'd be interested to see this gun, the setup against the Ouroboros. You know, the Ouroboros statistically is better from a DPS calculation perspective, but playing, I wonder. You know, I wonder, and I don't know because, you know, my play style is a little bit different than the people that have access to the PTS and who've demonstrated it. So come on, hold still. I just like the frame drops are killing me here. And it's not my internet connection. What is this? What's going on here? Yeah, I mean, I have no dropped frames from a network perspective, but it's like twitchy screen. But this is a great gun. It always has been. And they fixed it because the only problem with it has ever been supply room access. The small mag. And so that alone is a big deal on this weapon. But you need the talent too. You know, you need the damage too. Now, they've done it just through RPMs, but isn't that like running measured? Yeah, good question, Black. The real question is, though, did they fix the directive that's broken? Because they keep giving us that directive and it's broken. I'm annoyed by that. Yeah, Kool-Aid, I do know about that. I got exclusive access to that from behind the scenes, from the producers. They actually sent me that for my review. The documentary on behind the scenes of Division 1 and 2. Otaku! You're back from more trouble? What's up, man? Thanks for your support. Yay! Free memberships. Okay, I guess that's everything. So, I mean, I can feel the damage difference, you know, but that auto reload is pretty badass, you know. Where are we crit chance? Did I change anything there? 57, 110. Yeah, I mean, so I don't think there'd be... yeah, but I feel like that's how it's going to feel. You know, that's how it's going to feel. So yeah, let's talk about the talent for a little bit though, because let's do one more control point because I want to talk about that talent some more coming on to Ouroboros, which is okay. So I believe that's how it's going to feel, right? And so it's going to have a little bit better DPS because the RPMs are going to be higher, right? But you also got to remember this. There's some details around the RPMs. It's not always a great thing I mean, there's a limit. Right? It's great. Oh, believe me, I love RPMs. Believe me, right? You guys know I love RPMs. However, they're great when you're landing your shots with extreme high accuracy, but when you're not, I don't care what size your mag is, you're gonna be reloading a lot. Which is why fast hands is really handy and a really good comparable, I think, you know? And so that's why damage per bullet is, it just also, you just want that in there. Not just for DPS from a platform perspective. And so what I mean by platform is like the combination of things that like base damage and RPMs and size of mag. I mean, so all those things are important. Thanks, Scale, for that sub. All those things are important, but that damage one is really important because not all your shots are going to land. And so when things are a little off balance, like really high RPMs, you know, it can be painful because when you miss, there goes your whole mag, you know? And that's not unique to the Ouroboros, that's unique to any fast weapon. So this is something that has plagued any of the fast weapons for a really long time. It's in the nature of the beast. So, but nevertheless, it's welcome though. It's the high RPMs are welcome. So, from the platform, the weapon is strong, but those high RPMs are going to lead to. So, what I'm trying to say is that they're giving us a full match. So, this is the deal, you know, with the DPS calculations, which is what everybody's kind of raving about. You know, that's done in an isolated scenario, right? Where it's done on paper, basically. Whether it's in the testing range or on a spreadsheet or a calculator, it's done on paper, you know, and the targets aren't moving or whatever. And now people are testing it and they say, look, it shreds, but so does this one, is my point. So the shredding issue isn't an issue, is it? It's not. You know what I mean? It's not, because the regular tactical vector already is a beast. It's already a beast, and you have the flexibility to interchange your talent and your mods as you see fit. You know, so a bigger mag, but higher RPMs, thus more shots missed per second. Do you get where I'm going? It's a wash in many scenarios, because a lot of times, you know, so that's why I wanted to do more demonstrating here, because a lot of times the enemy's not just standing there letting you fucking shoot them. They're moving. And even if they are standing there, the weapon is so fast that even if it looks like you're landing shots, you're not, you know? So a lot of those shots are missed. See, like right there. All right. So I probably lost like 10, 15 bullets right there, missing his elbow. You know, and I'm trying to go sit, and that's why on these fast SMGs, headshot crits aren't as important as body crits. You know, body crits are what you want to look at, because if you're trying to go for headshots too much, I mean, you're just putting yourself into nasty reload scenarios. So, you know, so it's nice, and you know, we use body crits because. I mean, headshot crits, because we want to see what our max potential damage is. But it's really not reliable to use that as a metric for survivability's sake. Nonetheless, the weapon looks fun. Oh, I almost got to that. Fuck, that golden bullet was too hard. So nonetheless, the weapon it looks fun. So I'm not saying it's not going to be fun or anything like that, but I hate that I can't go back. It sucks. Yeah, good point. There's registration issues too, yeah. Yeah, good point, Taco. It was probably a beamer. Hold up, McNasty. Score. And so, I mean, I think that all of the fast weapons are. You know what I mean? And that's because they tend to not have high, what do you call it? Stability recoil issues. And so, like, if you look at the CTAR, the FAMAS does. FAMAS has a serious kick, but SMGs are a little on the lower powered side. So, like, the CTAR is pretty comparable to an SMG. The Chameleon, and so they all have accuracy issues, but not stability recoil issues. And so they have a scatter issue, right? The way the bullets are kind of scattering, but relatively lasers otherwise. And yeah, they shouldn't be at range, but they do pretty good. Which direction am I going here? Let's go back to this. Which way? Yeah. So they do relatively decent at range, but the damage drop off makes it not really worth it. And you're still going to get your kill. It's just taking more bullets, thus leading to more reloads. But you can. We do. But good observation, yeah. I don't remember what all the mods are on that. Do you guys, anybody recall? Oh, so that's the other thing. Okay, let's go back to the talent. Okay, so we talked about the speed. It's not always good. You get it, right? You get it? Okay, but it's great. So it's kind of a wash. They're giving you a bigger mag because they have to. I think first came the RPMs. I think that the devs said, hey, these guys really like RPMs. Let's give them a fast one. And we're like, yeah. But they were like, oh, we probably better give them a bigger mag, though, because they're going to be reloading all the fucking time. And that's what happened. That's just part of it, right? It's part of RPM. So I think they're hand in hand. So it's not like, it's cause and effect. You know what I mean? Because one of the things I was wondering is, like, how could they make such a weapon that's just so OP? This thing is already, as a platform, got the best DPS out of all SMGs. And then they give us a bigger mag and more RPMs, which just means more DPS. And it's because they had to. You know, they went down that road and it's a slippery slope. They went down probably faster RPM mode, and they were like, oh, we better add the larger mag or they're just not going to have a good time with it. And it's true. We wouldn't. We'd be like, yeah, it's fun, but you're always reloading, you know? Okay, so there's good and there's bad. That's all I'm saying. But what... Oh, God, I'm going to walk right into a hornet's nest here. Hold on. Oh, get me out of here. Fuck, I walked right into orange stuff. That golden bullet just hurts too hard. Oh, this is a long run. I'm not going back there. Okay, so the talent. Let's talk about the talent. So the status effects. So what we're going to be looking at here is the time to kill perspective. Okay, so when a weapon like the tactical vector is so good at killing, listen, we'll look at it from a whole build perspective, right? So, and I've nerfed the shit out of this build, okay? So, because it's so strong. I mean, like, you can. This is my point. I mean, and so what I mean by nerfing is, like, I mean, I just threw on a bunch of armor, which is also a power up. Depends on how you look at it, right? So I got 3 protection from elite mods, and we're running 1.7 million armor, right? And then I'm running the shield instead of gunner. So it's like you could totally strip down these blue mods, but like I said, you don't need any more damage on this build, you know? And so the bonus armor becomes a vital part in us to be able to slay like we are, you know, because it's a shield. So what I'm trying to say is I don't have any armor on kill. And why? It's because this weapon kills so well that I can survive just off of the bonus armor on kill. And because in the bonus armor on kill, the bonus armor only lasts for 10 seconds, but because I'm killing so often, so fast with the setup is so fast at killing and moving on to the next target and killing again and moving on to the next target and killing multiple targets in one standing spot on one zone that I don't need actual armor on kill. The bonus armor just keeps stacking, and then the regen underneath is healing whatever it needs to on the white armor. So my point is that the talent becomes relatively insignificant on a weapon or build that does really well at killing. And that's why we have a lot of builds where we start reallocating the talent, which would normally go to a damage thing, to other utilities like preservation. You see preservation on builds like this a lot. Fast hands is a good example. Steady handed is an awesome one. Whatever, right? Future perfection. We see determined, right? So determined is awesome. Determined doesn't give you any more damage, but it's our way to go on one-shot kill builds because it adds a utility that helps us play faster, thus turning into more, which translates to more survivability. And so that's what we got going on here. And so that kind of, it makes me think about the talent that's coming with Ouroboros. Is it, the question, and this is just going to stay as a question because we don't know until we get it, is it just a big waste? And the reason why is, and that's why the weapon's going to fly, and that's why it's not going to get nerfed out of the PTS and just come as it is, because I mean, we see that a lot with the St. Elmo's, right? Like, so the St. Elmo's just does such a good job at killing things. It's just out there just slaying. What up, Sam Dollar? And so, like, it just slays and slays. And after a while, you're just like, I'm pumping all my shock ammo basically into a single target or two. And, like, they shock once, and then I got all the other shock ammos just being wasted because you can't reapply status on somebody under status. And by the time they come out of status, they're dead anyways. And so that's what's going to happen with Ouroboros, because the tactical vector, without those enhanced features coming from the exotic, is already a slain beast. And I'm showing you that on a build that's running 1.7 million armor and 3 armor cores. I mean, 3 protection from elite dealios. And so it's like, it's a slain beast, okay, on a regular weapon, and we're doing it with fast hands. So I took away damage, even more damage, right? There's not much more damage I can take off of this build. Like, Intimidate is only active inside 10 meters when I have bonus armor. And, the memento is a memento. It's just additive damage on the back end. And I'm not getting the damage short-term buffs from the memento. I'm getting a little bit, right? We get 10%, not whoop-de-doo. And so it's like, so I'm not getting short-term buffs from the memento on the damage side. It's all defense. This is a defensive setup. The shield helps a little bit, depending on who's standing in front of you. But it's relatively a defensive setup. Why? Because the Ouroboros, or the tactical vector, I should say, is just a good killing machine. It's in a tight little package, And so I think that the ammo, think about how fast that ammo is going to go at the elevated RPMs. What are they, like 1400 or something? Think about how fast the status effect ammo is going to go. How many shots are you going to put into a single target? And they're going to be under status effects on average for at least 5 seconds. And so if they're under a status effect for 5 seconds, let me tell you something. I promise you it's not going to take 5 seconds to kill that enemy. I mean, these are some of the fastest time to kills in the game. SMG builds. They have to be. They have to be, because you're not going to survive if you're taking forever to kill with an SMG at close quarters, out of combat. You can get wailed on, High risk, high reward. That's how your build is set up. They need to have the power to be rewarded. So, and you put yourself in the risk. They need to have the power to be in that risk zone. So it's just, there's not going to be 5 seconds for the enemy to take the status effect more than once. Thus, whatever status effect ammo you have is gonna be used up on a single target or on all those misses because of that high RPM. You see what I'm saying? So we talked about it. So it was a good progression, really, a segue on how RPMs aren't always a good thing. Now, when it comes to the damage talent, you see that? How those bullets came through that wall right there? It's fucked up. Okay, so that was without mementos and shit like that. Body shots, right? And so that talent's gonna be basically useless because the vector just kills too fast. It just does too good of a job to utilize shock ammo, and the review's gonna be the same as the St. Elmo's. It'll be like, hey, you know, that shock ammo or the status effect ammo is sort of a nice to have, but my time to kill is too fast. Like, I don't need a status effect. You know what I mean? I got the best time to kill in the game. And you're staggering. You know, which is an official status effect. And so that's my sentiment around it. We saw this coming with the St. Elmo's before it even came, you know. Damn, come on. I mean, maybe it'll help with the cartwheels a little bit, granted. So, like, all this stuff, this looks good and sounds good on paper, you know, but... And even in testing modes, but if you really break it down, and nobody's going to tell you this in the PTS, unfortunately, you know what I mean? But because there's a lot of excitement and it's amazing, and it is, you know? I'm not saying it's a bad gun, it's amazing. But the reality is what's really working, it's just the gun, you know what I mean? And they've made it a little bit better by making it faster and giving you a larger mag, which is sort of the same as just putting a damage talent on it. But on paper, okay? On paper, it's got a better DPS figure, but in gameplay, does that make a difference? You know, and that just depends, I guess. It's gonna depend on, that's gonna depend on the player. But I can tell you that most of the work is just because flat out it's the tactical vector, you know, and that's most of what's why that gun is so amazing, is because it's a tactical vector, you know. And so, like, everything you see happening is just a tactical vector doing its thing, and it does it really well, you know. And remember, this is 1.7 million armor right here. And we don't need to go on bullet, we're just running that for fun. But, so, it's gonna come down to, I mean, it's quite different than, and that's why I think these weapons fly. You know what I mean? I think that's why they're allowed to be released in the end. It's because they're just reappropriating statistics. You know, and on paper, oh, this gun's got the best DPS in the game, or the best sustained versus burst, or whatever it's going to be, depending on the weapon, right? Because, like, look at the Police M4 or the St. Elmo's with its larger mag, 70 rounds, but you got a talent that's waste. You know, it really is waste. And if you're not wasting it, then you're also not making use out of your 70 round mag or sustained DPS either. You understand? So if you want to make the most out of your shock ammo, what you're doing is conserving your shock ammo once it's earned, and spreading it across multiple targets, which is a status effect build, basically, right? And so those are our team builds, our wingman builds. And so it's very effective, but it's not a DPS build. And so you're using your 70 round mag, but You're using it like you use chem launcher. You know, it's a quantity of shock is all it is, not damage. You know, and you can't have both, can you? Can you have both? Can you have your 70 round mag and shock ammo shock build too? No, you can't. I mean, I can't think of it. We've run plenty of St. Elmo's builds. You lose one over the other. So when you decide to go like, oh my God, I'm going to go and do an amazing DPS build with the St. Elmo's and go all red and crits, and you know that you're not getting much out of the shock, and every now and again you shock the target, and every now and again it helps you a little bit, but it's not a game changer. It shouldn't be eliminated from the game because you basically are running around with no talent. That's basically what's happening. You know, every now and again, you know, the shock ammo will shock a target so you can DPS him, and that can be helpful sometimes. But all the rest of your shock ammo is being unloaded into a single enemy or two. And really, you got 2 shocks out of 70 bullets. 1 to 2 shocks out of 70 bullets. That's waste. I mean, you might as well just hit their weak point, right? Just hit the weak point and put on a damage talent. You know? So what I'm saying is, like, you basically have a talent-free assault rifle. You have an assault rifle without a talent when you run it as a DPS build, right? And that's cool. It works. It works, right? Because we like an assault rifle with good accuracy, good crits, and a large mag is a good weapon. It doesn't need a talent. None of them do. You know what I mean? Like, there's builds or weapons that we sacrifice weapon talents or chest talents or backpack, whatever. One of the talents all the time. And that's because there's enough, what we call a damage, required damage on the build. Optimal damage. We've reached it. Not that hard in this game. And unfortunately, a lot of people overspec their build. But it's really not that difficult to have what we call effective damage. That's the word I'm looking for. You know, effective damage means like a really fast time to kill. Basically, the fastest that you can detect without using computer-assisted enhancements like freeze frames and stuff like that. Recordings. And so it's just... So that's what I'm saying. It's like, if you think about it from that perspective, we're not really getting an overpowered weapon that shouldn't belong in the game. We're getting a weapon in which we're sacrificing the talent for weapon-based stats is what we're doing. You know, it's a trade-off. And the downside is that the weapon's locked in like that. So... where on a regular high-end weapon like what I'm running is I have the flexibility to change my setup based on the build. Technically more diversity in what I'm running. But diversity aside, they can be just as effective to run this vector, same vector with whatever, Optimist or any damage talent. Because I need to harvest more meat per bullet because I know when I miss, it's gonna be painful to my magazine because of my fast RPMs. And so that's why I go center mass if I can. And so the bigger mag is just a compensator. And the damage talent is, the talent is basically not there. You know? So, you know, I think it's okay that the weapon comes in as it is. I know that people are going to be, it's going to appear to be the meta. On paper, statistically, it is a DPS meta, you know? But in all practical use cases, it's not any different than just your tactical vector or any of the vectors, really, you know? It's a fast gun that kills fast, but we already have that. And it's going to appear to be the meta, especially because everybody's going to be running it. and everybody's going to be like, oh my God, I'm killing really fast. And you are, right? And you are. But the question is, to those people, it'd be like, have you ever used the tactical vector before? Because you'd probably be surprised on how much you can do with the tactical vector without it being an exotic. It's always been an amazing weapon, and the exotic version is just, it's the same thing. It just, the stats are moved around. Instead of having a damage stat, or instead of having access to a damage stat, they've locked you into a bigger mag and higher RPMs. And if you can get that to work for you, then it can be a better gun, because we don't have that option. And so it's just another tool, a good tool, one that I'm gonna like, I'm sure of it, in my arsenal. Because I love loading up on RPMs, and I don't have the option to do that, right? There's no, I mean, we got measured, and that's about it, right? And obviously the gear sets, but from a weapon talent perspective, it just doesn't exist. Measured is as close as it gets. And so when I'm looking to make the fastest weapon SMG in the game, or assault rifle or whatever, it's measured. You know, I put on measured. And so that's what's going to be really cool about this weapon, I think. I don't think it's going to be like, there's other reasons to not run it, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, you might want preservation on the tactical vector, because if you've figured it out, I'm emphasizing that, then you would have understood that the tactical vector is good as it is. It doesn't need look at it. It doesn't need, I mean, I'm running golden bullet right now, but you know, it doesn't need an exotic version, but it's welcomed. You know what I mean? It's a good gun, so I'm very happy that they chose it, but it doesn't need it. You know, it's not in need, you know? It's not like, oh my God, thank God we finally got a powerful gun. Well, hey, thank God we finally got a gun that's not going to go in the trash bin. That, you know, we can't afford a Sanctum Imperium, you know, in this game anymore, right? The accuracy better be good. What up, Fog? The accuracy better be good, because like we were saying, like, you miss a shot, there goes, you know, 1500 RPMs, whatever that thing is. It's like, yeah, see you later magazine, you know? Like, there's no, the magazine just can't be big enough for high RPMs. It can't. I mean, I want a barrel drum magazine. That's the kind of magazine it needs when you're running 1500 RPMs, you know? I need 100 shots. You don't need it, but I'm just saying, like, to make an impact, to a true impact, that gun, you know, the concept. Otherwise, it's just a compensator. I just think that that's it. They made it fast RPM. They took away your damage talent so that you could harvest more meat per bullet. So you can't do that anymore, you know, but if you can land all your shots, then you're making really good use out of it, you know. Because the talent that they're going to give you is going to be relatively useless. Because why? Because your time to kill's too fast. You don't need a 5-second status effect. It's going to be faster. Okay, exotic aside, you know, just from a weapon class perspective, it's going to be faster than the St. Elmo's. And I sort of want to say naturally, because it's an SMG, it needs to be. And so the talent's going to be completely wasted because of that. I mean, every now and again, it's going to keep a guy from cartwheeling, which is also welcomed. So I'm not saying I'm not going to enjoy the talent, but I'm going to say it's not going to contribute as much as I would like it to my gameplay. But every now and again, it's going to stop a guy from doing his stupid cartwheels, and I'm happy about that. You know? You know what I mean? Because they're always doing these monkey circus acts. What up, Autistic Drummer? No, we do. we do have a release date. So the release date is on Wednesday. We were waiting for that. Yeah. So in the beginning of the video, we talked about it. So on Monday, which is October 2nd, we will be live streaming the reveal, which is typically about a half hour to an hour long. And then the next day, which is Wednesday, October 3rd, the new game mode will be released, giving us access to the weapon, which is going to be locked behind the incursion. So there's a possibility you can get it on day one, depending on RNG, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. That's what we're talking about, Autistic Drummer. That's what we're talking about, because the St. Elmo's never got a nerf. Why? You know, why did the St. Elmo's fly? And, you know, I'd be surprised. It's possible they nerfed this thing right out of the gate, you know? Everybody was calling for a nerf. There's videos of people saying, don't hate me, please nerf this gun. It needs to be nerfed. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you look at it, you know? That's what I'm trying to say. Look at it from this perspective. I'm not sure it needs to be nerfed, you know, for all the reasons we just discussed. But the tactical vector is just a really good gun. It doesn't need enhancements, and they took away damage from the talent, locked you into this thing, and gave you a larger mag, which you have to have because they gave you a higher RPMs. You have to have because of all the misses you're going to be doing, you know? And the damage talent's a waste, just like St. Elmo's. Except the good thing about St. Elmo's is that it's the way you can earn it, just on the hits and stacks, you can build it into a good wingman build. But I think that the Ouroboros is going to be a little bit more difficult to do that. I understand you can status affect yourself, but how practical is that on a legendary checkpoint that's going to only take you, 30 seconds to complete, you know? It's unreliable. And so that's what I'm saying. I think that devs understand that. And so at one point I'm saying, how could they do this? On one hand, I'd say, how could they do this? How could they blatantly put up a weapon that is so overpowered that it's going to outclass all the other weapons from a DPS perspective, right? And I'm thinking like, well, wait a second. Maybe from a practical perspective, a non piece of paper perspective, yeah, so it's got better DPS on paper, but that's just because they had to compensate for the amount of missed shots you're going to have, and also the loss of a damage talent and a status effect talent that's really going to be unreliable. I mean, you can have a whole control pointer mission and never be status affected, right? And if you are, let's just say you're status affected at a reasonable rate, you're gonna use that ammo so fast it's almost like it was never there. You know? So in order to make use of that talent, you're gonna have to constantly be status affected, because it's not gonna refresh like ongoing directive. See, ongoing directive refreshes because you kill a status affected target because the talent from ongoing directive gives you more ammo. It gives you ammo that allows you to apply a status effect to a target before you kill them. Right? So, but the Ouroboros doesn't do that. It's completely out of your hands. It's completely out of your hands. It's not something you can rely on. Unless you do something like status affect yourself. And who's really going to do that? I don't know. I mean, maybe there's some creative way to do it, but from a high level perspective, like, no way. I'm not going to status effect myself. Ultra Mega Man, good to see you back. So, like, I think that the weapon is probably warranted, you know? It's just, they're giving us something that's, we can, this is its unique factor. We're going to have access to something that we don't normally have access to. And that is a higher base RPMs. That makes the weapon stand out from a unique perspective. But from like is it an overpowered weapon? Well, not any more than the tactical vector is overpowered. You know, the weapon itself is overpowered. You know what I mean? Just for being itself, you know? These are just things to chew on, you know what I mean? Like, but I also think that's why the police, imagine, okay, let me just put it this way. Maybe this is a different way to look at it. If you have a hard time seeing me eye to eye here on this, like, think about it this way. Imagine that St. Elmo's, if they took away the shock ammo and put a damage talent on it instead, okay? Pick whatever damage talent you want, doesn't matter. Imagine if they gave you something like Optimist, right? Or it doesn't really matter. Strained is a good one because it's got crits on it, so that would align. Imagine, it doesn't really matter though, just an example. Like imagine if they gave you Strained on that Police M4 instead of shock ammo. 70 rounds of, and you're getting more damage. Which gun would be better now? I mean, that would probably, I mean, I don't know, but it would probably be the strongest gun in the game, right? Just without doing any crunching of numbers. And so you got 70 rounds of and higher crit chance, and it'd be crazy, right? But they didn't give you a damage talent, and instead they give you a talent that can be completely not there in a DPS scenario. It's not there. And it was the biggest disappointment in St. Elmo's. When I did my review on it, when it was first launched, that was the glaring thing. It was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much okay with the weapon not... when the shock ammo's there, it's sort of like, oh, that's nice. But I really, it's just unreliable and not very useful because you blow all 70 rounds on a single target or two. And the SMG is going to be worse. It's going to be worse because you have no control on gaining it. It only happens if you get a status effect, and the amount of shots that you put out per second is even higher than that Police M4, and your mag is smaller. So you got a higher RPM and a smaller mag and a less frequency of ammo. It's absolutely going to be a waste of talent. So basically, you're looking at a tactical vector with no talent and a larger mag and a higher RPM, which is basically a normal vector with a normal size mag, normal RPM, which is still high, and a damage talent. Now, on paper, I understand that the Ouroboros has better DPS statistics because of its base stats. I understand that, but its practical usage isn't there to finite or to definitively make it the best weapon in the game. Only on paper. Because what I'm trying to tell you is that you might prefer to not have that high of RPMs on your weapon. And if your RPMs aren't that high, then you don't need the extra 10 rounds or whatever it is. So, well, you do. I mean, I wish I had more rounds on this weapon without the RPMs. I'll be honest with you. I mean, but it's getting the job done. You know what I mean? So, but you might prefer fast hands. That's just as good. How many crits am I throwing out there, and how fast is my reload? No matter what, on the Ouroboros, whether you have 50 rounds or 100 rounds or 35 rounds, on the Ouroboros, you're still going to encounter a reload. No matter what. And on the tactical vector, the normal high-end version, you're still going to encounter a reload. So both weapons that is its limitation, is that you still going to reload. And fast hands not only basically eliminates the reload, well, it makes it so fast, it's like, the animation is slower than what's actually happening, but it also kind of squashes the difference between the exotic version and the normal version, because I don't really need a bigger mag, because fast hands is filling in the gap, and I got to reload anyways, whether I got 50 rounds or 35. Now, the exotic version isn't going to have that luxury. You're going to have a few extra bullets, but overall, you can have a normal reload speed. So how much time was spent reloading over the course of a control point from one weapon or the other? And so let me tell you something. And Fog of War, actually, this is something I probably picked up from one of your videos, but like with these high RPM weapons, you spend more time reloading than you do shooting. You understand? Whether you have 55 rounds or 39 rounds, it doesn't matter. You spend more time reloading than shooting. With fast hands, that closes the gap between how much time you're spending shooting and how much time you're spending reloading. And it comes down to that reload time. It's literally related to the reload time. How fast does it take you to expel all 39 rounds? Is it shorter or longer than 1.8 seconds? Right? Now, with the new exotic Ouroboros SMG, it's going to be, you're going to release that mag, you're going to draw to empty faster than 1.8 seconds or whatever the reload time is. I'm sure it's around there. So it's going to, and I'm running strikers, so this is improving the reload time. So you are going to, no matter if you have a larger mag, because of your higher RPMs, you're going to be burning through your mag and reloading. Because of that, it's not, how would I say, it's not balanced, right? So what I'm trying to say, they didn't ratio increase the ammo based on the RPMs. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I haven't done it on paper or anything like that, but just looking at it from quick math at the top of my head, they didn't do it by ratio. In other words, they're saying, because we increased the RPMs by X percentage, we need to increase the mag size by X percentage. Or did they do it by ratio? Prove me wrong. I need to know. And so but I doubt they did. And because of that, you're going to be reloading with the Ouroboros just as much as you're going to be reloading with a smaller mag tactical vector. Same amount of reloads, but the tactical vector, because that's going to be the same, because the Ouroboros, although it's got a bigger mag, it's shooting faster, which means you're going to be dispensing of your mag faster, which means you're going to encounter your reloads more often, and your reload's going to be longer. You're going to be reloading more per control point or per hour of gameplay on a per minute basis, whatever you want to look at it, with the Ouroboros than you are with the tactical vector. Especially with fast hands, because fast hands eliminates the reload speed basically to less than a second, whatever it is, I don't know, but it's really fast. And so you're better off, you're better off with a 1400 RPM, which is what we have on a smaller mag and fast hands, than you are with a bigger mag and more RPMs and no fast hands. Because, for one, both weapons are going to have the same time to kill. They're both going to have the same time to kill. On paper, yes, one is stronger than the other. But from a time to kill in gameplay, negligible. It's going to be the difference of a split frame or two. You know what I mean? In a recording session. And we'll test it. We'll test all this stuff because that's really interesting. I want to know. And so how many frames of a difference in time to kill is it? But what's important in these fast weapons, I cannot stress this enough. it's your reload speed. Okay, I can't stress this enough. On these really high RPM weapons, and I know this because I love high RPM weapons. I love them. You know what I mean? I mean, you've seen me use these heavy hitters down here too, but overall, I love RPMs. You know, that's what I like. I like RPMs and headshot builds. Those are my favorites. You know what I mean? So like, so I love the CTAR. That used to be my favorite assault rifle, and it never really officially made it to my official favorite because it doesn't run a scope. That's the only reason why. But the CTAR is an amazing gun. I love it. I love it better than the FAMAS. I love it better than the Police M4. It just doesn't take a scope or a laser pointer, technically. So, but those are its only flaws. Otherwise, it's a laser beam. And I love the rail splitter. Again, no damage talent, right? And so, because it's really accurate, so you got shots on target compensating. More shots on target are more important. So, like, but the reload speeds on these fast, the amount of reloading, it's noticeable, you know? And so if I had a larger mag, I mean, there are a couple of moments that are inconvenient because of the 39 rounds where sometimes it's like I'm in a position where maybe an enemy is still standing, maybe because I missed a couple extra shots or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm reloading while he's standing there, but it's all the same in the end. And so I'm not saying, hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Ouroboros is bad. I'm saying it shouldn't be nerfed. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, Kool-Aid. I love that build. What up, Slow Sweet? Hey, you know what, Kool-Aid? Let me give you 2 builds to try that on that you probably haven't, especially since you're asking me. Try it. Okay, put all of the skill tiers. I mean, all of the pieces into skill tiers. Okay, with crits. So 3 Umbra, 2 Striker, all skill tiers, running the Ninja, and then run it with the Capacitor, and then your turret and your drone. It's amazing. Because remember, the Capacitor picks up damage from skill tiers, and so it's like you barely lost any damage at all. Only a half per core, which is additive damage anyways. But my point is that a really fast Capacitor is really fun. The other one to try is like this, your typical all red build, same setup, and then run it with the Pestilence. That's how we kicked off. Actually, we kicked off this game mode with that same build, and I ran it with the Pestilence. So we ran it. That was the first build I ran for Golden Bullet. It is extremely fun, and extremely fun for Golden Bullet. Yeah, Philip, the CTAR and the Strikers is mamma mia. Try it with Clutch, the backpack talent Clutch. It's my favorite way to run Clutch. Hey, Kool-Aid, are you Nuclear Venom? Are you the same? Is that you? You gotta be, right? You gotta be. What up, Fugget? Oh, good. Look at Fog of War said it has a stat for us. So 1.87 seconds to empty mag at stock. 1.95 seconds for tac vector. I'm assuming with the mag size, whatever. So, yeah, interesting, right? That's crazy. Which means basically what Fog of War is telling us there with the stats is that you can be reloading more with the Ouroboros than you are with the tactical vector. Because it releases its mag, it empties its mag faster. So yeah, thank you for that. Hey, what is the base reload time on that gun? Is it 2 seconds? 1.9 seconds? Okay, we lost all our stacks because you guys were talking too much. Okay, exotic aside, on builds like this, it's actually a pretty good idea to run fast hands. Not from a DPS or sustained DPS perspective, but from a how much time you're reloading, because you're just reloading a lot because your weapon is faster. It doesn't. I'm not talking about the mag size. Whether it's 50 rounds doesn't matter. It's just like you're just gonna be reloading all the time. You know, the RPMs are crazy. That's 1400 RPMs. You know, that's really high. Yeah, I see you. Ooh, she had some moves. Oh, it's still coming, huh? $1650 RPM is insane. No, I'm saying that this weapon is 1400. 1620 right now. So it's reading 1620. That's insane. Pretty sure that's a golden bullet, but I didn't think golden bullet was showing up on stats, but apparently. Ah, fucking grenade. And foam. Fuckers. Alright, I see you. Ah, you fucker, hold still. See all those misses? See, those are all misses, right? And so there was 2 reloads in there because of misses. And so I'm trying to go center mass, believe me, right? But when you're shooting so fast, you're missing more than you realize, you know? Can you imagine having a no reload on that weapon? Now that's something. I mean, we need a bullet king for an SMG class. That would be cool. I mean, we sort of have that. We have the bullet queen, right? Like, see that miss right there? See those misses, although small miss, huge impact to your to your reload, which is inevitably impacting your DPS, right? In those calculations that everybody is talking about, oh, this is gonna be the strongest weapon in the game, DPS are crazy. But yeah, true. But only on paper. Because the impact of those misses hurts you more in game than any other thing that could possibly be impacting your build. So I mean, you might say, oh, you're stupid for not running, you know, Fox's prayers or something like that. But the reality is like the worst thing, the thing that impacts my build the most is how many shots are on target versus how many aren't. Because you can easily turn a single target that is killable in a single mag into a 3 reload target. 3. There was a couple of enemies like that I ran on. Are the results the same? Sure. Right? I mean, we cleared that control point in like 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Maybe 3. So like the results are still the same and it's still worthy build, but I'm just saying like it's not, there's a limit to how useful high RPMs are. And I love running maximum RPM builds because it's crazy fun. It's just fun. But from like, let's talk real talk perspective, like there's just a limit to how practical it is. Because missing shots is so painful to your DPS. You know, it's really painful. And nobody, I mean, if you're a 100% accuracy person, you know what I mean? Like, I want to meet you. But, like, I'm not 100% accurate. Not even at point blank. My muzzle is pointed to your chest plate. I still am missing shots. The game doesn't let me. It doesn't let me land 100%, you know? There's a couple of targets that and I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention. There were a couple of targets I had 100% shots landed, and they were deleted, right? But even this is the thing, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this. The closer you are to the enemy, ooh, that's a nice little Sokolov. The more damage, the more shots, or the chances of greater misses. Screw that up. You know what I'm saying, right? The higher chance you're going to miss more shots. That's what I want to say. The closer you are to a target, the higher the chance you're going to miss more shots. And that's because you don't have the angle to adjust. And the enemies are moving, like they're diving to the right, and like you can't, I don't know if I can explain that, but well, I'm just not finding the words. But yeah, it might be a console thing more than anything, but like, because on mouse you could start and stop with more precision. But for us, like if I have an enemy in front of me, like right in my face, let's say he's sitting like right there, and he dives to the right, he's usually going to land right there, and I can't swing that fast. I can't. You see that? That's as fast as I can go. So those are all missed shots. Me trying to get him. So he's standing right there, and he tucks and rolls over there, and I'm trying to shoot him while he's rolling, but because he's faster than I can swing my gun when I'm ADSing, he can dive faster than I can swing, which shouldn't be the case, I don't think, but I think you should be able to swing fast. And you can improve that on console in your settings, right? That's your camera speed. But the problem is it's not the speed, it's your precision in which you can stop. So if you speed up your camera, if you speed it up, what'll happen is you're over. So he stopped there, and you overcompensated. So you end up way over here. Same result. Missed shots, right? The concept isn't to swing. That's not the fix. The fix is it's shots on target, and you know, over and under compensating isn't gonna help your case. And so, and I'm saying that because we're talking about SMGs, and SMGs that are fast have this issue, you know, because you're in the enemy's face and they tuck and roll and you're still shooting at them. And so like even in the first millisecond, there went 7 to 15 rounds, and then you're trailing him with your gun, trying to get him while he's midair or roll mid-tuck. And then there went the other half of your mag. You know, by the time he lands, you only got a couple bullets left, you know? Yeah, you can increase sensitivity on controllers, yeah. And I do. I'm not using I'm using a base controller right now. But yeah, you can go and, but But as far as settings go, you can go into controls. So aim sensitivity. That's the change the camera movement speed when you are zoomed in. That's ADS. A higher value increases the camera responsiveness. So I'm a little bit under. Mine is set for sniping mostly, headshot builds. And these settings are tied to my controller, which isn't working right now. So, Derek, what up? Welcome back. And so, anyways, all these are just topics to counter. This gun needs to be nerfed. You know, the Ouroboros. Oops, I thought you were gonna be dead. Oh, I forget about that auto reload sometimes. That was what, three and a half reloads with the golden bullet? Fuck. You see the misses right there? So the closer you are, the greater your miss. Right, you're zoomed in. So there was like leg shots right there, right? So pay attention to the misses, right? No matter what, we're reloading all the time is my point. And 50 rounds, a 50-round mag isn't going to change. Look at all those misses, guys. Look at all those misses. I'm not the worst player in the game. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, I do all right. You know, I hold my own. It's just like, where's this guy? Still here, huh? But you're going so fast with your RPMs that those little movements track to an empty mag situation into the midair, you know? See all those misses? Oh, that happens all the time too, by the way. Where you pump your gun is so fast, this is gonna happen a lot to you. That you pump all your rounds into a target that's already dead, that hasn't hit the floor yet. You know what I'm talking about? And it's a big issue. It's an issue when you have enemies stacked on top of each other. Very fun way to play, though. But yeah, so I'm sure you guys counted that. It's not really specific to this weapon, but there's all these scenarios where you're wasting your mag. I guess that's what I'm pointing out. El Bouguet, there's a bullet queen. I was talking about the chatterbox. So because on kill it reloads half your mag, I think is what it is. So just kind of as a joke, I call it the bullet queen. There's also, you can put steady-handed on an LMG like the Stoner, one of the larger mag ones, and never reload that way also, which is pretty nice. And I actually prefer that over the Bullet King because you also get added accuracy. And I'd rather have that than ammo generation, which is what the Bullet King gives you. Okay, I think we've had enough fun with this one. Let's go into our rigger setup. So we're working on a rigger build, and I had got a couple of interesting pieces for it to help it better. So we kind of got to a point where we were stuck on it just because I didn't, you know, I don't go around collecting rigger usually. So I had limited pieces, and crafting wasn't helping me out. I think grenades are pretty useless in this game. Obviously, the fire grenades are great, but then you have to run survivalist specialization. And what if that's not in your build strategy, right? So, and, you know, it's funny. Not everybody's in agreement on this. I get, you know, when I make comments, when I comment on that, I get responses. It triggers people. There's like, I'll get comments like, you just don't know how to use grenades effectively. It's like, I know how to use grenades in this game. And you know, it's just a waste of my time. I might as well just shoot the target than take 30 seconds out of my time to kill to throw a fucking grenade that has a really good chance of missing, you know? Like, you know, it's like it's not like none of us have tried to use our grenades. We just figured it out that they're all crap. Like, don't try to tell me that I don't know how to use grenades. It's like, yeah, I'm on there's a majority here that agrees that grenades are just useless in this game. And I don't want to call the majority dumb. You know what I mean? Is that what I know that's what you're saying. The people love to call people dumb. It's annoying. Don't you guys find that annoying? There's so many dumb players in this game. I hate that. I hate when people do that. It's like, oh, that's so like, what is the word? Elitist of you, you know? To say that, you know, whatever. It's so snobby. It's a snobby ass statement. And so many people say that. And not just this game, usually a lot of games, you know, but it's just like, it's a thing that people say, oh, there's so many dumb players. It's common sense. It's just stupid. It's just like, Jesus, not every, you know, it's just rude. Whether it's an easy subject or not, it's just a very rude thing to say. And people throw that around a lot in the Division 2. And it's just like, that's just fucking rude. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be going around calling people dumb because they ask you questions or challenge your way of thinking. You know what I mean? Because that's why, right? They get frustrated because somebody's asking them a question that's a pretty good fucking question, and the fact that they didn't explain it correctly or at all, you know. Let me see. We need a rigger. Yeah, but don't go around calling people dumb because they look at things differently than you do. That's usually why. Or they haven't figured all the nuances out in this game, you know. It's like, that doesn't make them dumb. And it's just like, and that's what we're here to do on this channel and in this community and on our Discord. And it's like, we're here to transfer knowledge, not retain it and call people dumb for not knowing it. What fucking good is that? You know? Oh, we got to run a rigger backpack. This one requires a rigger backpack. See, I'm still missing some pieces, so it's got weapon handling on the backpack. And I think on this setup, it does matter. Like, you do want headshot damage everywhere, because you're rolling your gear into a utility. But we'll figure it out. And so the objective of this build, if you just now tuning into this concept, you missed it earlier when we were building it, which was before Golden Bullet, I think. The concept is like the mantis is amazing. It's really good. So if you watch that build video or the many streams where I climbed the summit from the bottom floor to the floor 100 and beat it, on legendary with all directives, and basically 9 out of 10 directives because one of them was broken. But like in the end, I used several builds. I changed the build up basically every 20 floors, and in the end, I determined that the Mantis was the best version. The Mantis build was the best. And that's because in those rooms that were really challenging, the unlimited decoy thing was the X factor. It was the thing that added survivability or allowed me to clear the entire room without them even knowing I was there because they're so distracted by my decoy. And then when you're running directives, that gives you extra XP. So there's always an incentive to run directives. And then when you have the Mantis with the decoy, it makes that running directives like not even a thing. It's just like a free XP, right? And so, but the downside is that we have this really good talent, Determined. And Determined is really good. And it competes with the Mantis build as far as like, which one do I want to run? You know, and because the Mantis is really OP and the Determined is too. And so it's like, oh, I always struggle, but I like the Mantis. The Mantis at the end of the day is better than Determined. The decoy is going to get you out of more trouble than Determined will. And so when it comes to very difficult content, I'm talking about. And so with that being the case, I was like, it would always be nice to have Determined and the capabilities of Mantis together. Right. And so that's what this build is going to be bringing to the table. It's going to give us the ability to run Determined while having unlimited decoys too. You know, and it's just the mechanics work differently because of how rigor works. So you can't let it expire. You got to break it and then before it expires. And that's basically a nuance you got to work around. Otherwise, you don't have to get a kill. You don't have to get a kill. And so you just have to manage your decoy. And yeah, so that's what we're working on. Figure out which weapon I'm going to use. Probably the SRS. You can use anything, but I can't remember which weapon we were using. We were using the White Death. Probably the SRS. Well, let's just bring both. You might need to use the White Death. It might be more practical, but I'll go ahead and start with... Let me just leave it like this. We'll see. Okay, and then the chest. Probably Providence, because we need to make sure our headshot damage is... Well, it's there. So let's go to Walker then. Okay, and then we got Rigor here, so that's good. Probably delete this one. It's junk. And then the knees are the only piece I'm really missing. It's got, I mean, the knees in the backpack. It's got weapon handling, which, you know, I think every stat's going to matter. But otherwise we have, let's re-roll those pieces that we got right. So the gloves. Oops, what did I go to? Oh, this one's backwards. I always forget. Recal. Kool-Aid. I'll answer your question here in 1 minute and 49 seconds, if you can hear me. I turn down those ad breaks, and I swear that every time I look down, there's a fucking ad break. Like, it's just... I can figure that out. It annoys me just as much as it annoys you, I'm sure. So, there's our rigor. And then we do need the backpack. This is a shitty backpack too. So we're missing 2 headshot stats. That's 20%. We'll go see what we can do with that. Well, I guess one of these we can ditch then, the shitty one. because we got more pieces. We have to run the backpack. So good news is that we can not run this one. Let's see. I'm gonna probably be moving too much for the Sawyers, and I know we could run those. It's kind of boring. We could run a Bellstone like that. Well, let's start off with more damage and then go from there. So let's see if I can find a red Habsburg. A little bit of armor's okay too, but Walker wouldn't be bad. Give some damage to armor to be actually better than more headshot damage. Oh, Kool-Aid. So, yeah, the exotic chest will be better than Mad Bomber. I mean, Mad Bombers is, I mean, if Mad Bomber wasn't so limited, we'd already be using it a lot. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? And we don't. And so that tells you how good it is. So having a perfect Mad Bomber isn't going to change that fact. You know? It's a little helpful, but grenade builds are just not good in this game. It's just, and Mad Bomber isn't going to change that, you know. And then on status effect builds, there's too many better things to go with. Well, it depends on whether you're running a gear set or not, but I mean, and the reality is that our fire grenades are the grenades that we're really talking about. Let's just be honest, and they're amazing as they are. You know what I mean? Like, even if you miss some of the enemies, they've inevitably run back into that fire anyways. You know, that's what's cool about the fire, is that it doesn't go away like foam, right? Like if foam doesn't hit, it's done. But, let's see, do I want this? Actually, let's keep that. Yeah, like grenade, like the foam grenades are actually pretty good. And so is the blinder grenades that I'm running here, right? But if you miss, they're done. You're done. You know? And you got to throw another one. But the fire grenades, if you miss, the ground is still on fire. And you're good to go. The enemies will run back in it. They will. And, you know, most of us use these builds in missions anyways. I mean, in the open world, you run a risk unless you're spawn killing, right? But in the open world, you know, grenade builds are not that good because there's too much land to cover and the enemies just walk around your shit. So, like, but if you're spawn killing, then that's great. But what about all the other guys that aren't at that spawn, you know? Yeah. I've put together some amazing, or as good as I could imagine, a Mad Bomber builds, and even with the Acosta's backpack and Mad Bomber, I would run out of grenades on a single control point. You can't use grenades full time, and so I would like to see if that chess piece changes that. And but that's always going to be the issue, even with the unlimited grenades, or even with a grenade regeneration. Because I think that's what that one does, right? Like, is it still enough? You know, because I think the idea of a grenade build really is to spam grenades. You know, otherwise, don't call me a grenadier. All right. So we're gonna need to earn some ammo, but let's get this. So as you can see, my decoy's out, right? So if I crush my decoy, we'll get it right back. See that? And so that's technically better than a mantis. A mantis requires a kill. So, but it has to be managed. And so that's the thing. Sometimes you can get really distracted and forget to bust it. Like right there. I'm really trying to get that guy in the back. So like, yeah, so I was distracted and I forgot. Right. But as soon as I get my on a roll here, that'll be a small issue. I'm just trying to get that purple guy in the back. Should have probably ran a scope. Yeah, should have ran a scope. Let me just kill myself.
Agent killed.
Yeah, and they love to put these perfect talents on weapons that like don't need it. I mean, on like gear pieces that don't make sense, right? It's like, let me start off like this because I don't remember how I was playing this. What's also cool about this build, and we'll work on it as soon as I get this tweaked out a little bit, is I think we'll be able to run it with rifles, like the 1886, because it's not, it's weapon class agnostic. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, and it's bulletproof. So is he? What the fuck? He's bulletproof. I put 3 shots into him. Reloaded, so he should be fixed now. There we go. Ah, zoomed. See all those fucking cartwheels. Get lost. All right. See how he turned right when I dropped that? The decoy's OP. It's really good. I like the decoy. That's why I'm excited to get this to work. Because like I really like running the memento, you know, and rigor forces you to not run the memento, but with an unlimited decoy build, that doesn't bother me. It doesn't at all. Ah, this guy, huh? Oh, what? I was waiting to see if he blew himself up. It didn't happen. Derek, you too drunk to understand my build, bro? Come on, bro. So basically, okay. So I'm running, let me explain it, because maybe I didn't do a good job, you're right. So I'm running rigor. Nobody runs rigor. Let's just get that out of the way. Nobody runs rigor, okay? And we tripped on this the other day because I've been evaluating the gear sets based on popular demand. And so mostly the backpack talents on these the backpacks of gear sets, right? And that's my approach on it, because for other reasons. Anyways, and so I tested rigor, and it just kind of dawned on me. I was like, an unlimited decoy with determined. Now, unlimited decoys, it wasn't a new idea for me, but it was since they gave us determined. So I've thought of an unlimited decoy with rigor before, but that was before determined. And so it's a sort of came down to like, yeah, I'll just run the mantis. But like with determined and an unlimited decoy, you can have a pretty badass build. Even moreover, like I just said a few minutes ago, you could get outside of the sniper class and run rifles, you can run pistols, you can run shotguns, and still get your unlimited decoy. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm about to do, actually. And so we'll run to like 1886. And so you're transferring, so we don't care anything about the gear set. Skill haste a little helpful, skill duration a little helpful. But the tend to befriend, we don't give a shit. What we're looking at is completely around the backpack, complete uptime, canceling your skill will reset their cooldowns. And that's the only thing that we're using here out of the gear set, really. And so the only downside to it is, one, it requires the backpack, and that kind of sucks because there's so many good backpacks in this, or options in the backpacks for this type of build play. But that aside, you got to manage your skill. You got to keep an eye on it. You don't want to let it expire, basically. And so that doesn't mean to go and run a bunch of duration. We tested that. It doesn't stack well, so it's just not really worth it. Maybe like 1 or 2, but no more than that. And so if you were able to run the memento, you wouldn't have that issue because you have the skill efficiency. But with this setup, let me make sure I can put on the rifle. Let's move that to you and then go back to you. There we go. So determined. And so because determined has such a good time to kill, you don't need to run a bunch of armor or anything like that. Just shoot fast. But you still gotta watch your angles and whatever, because it can hurt. You can run more armor too. I'm just still in build testing mode. And when I'm testing, I don't peek out my armor. So 11.3. And we can throw out our decoy. Pop this. So we're going to activate. Okay. So activate. Now I can crush my decoy. Drop it again. Didn't need to drop it. I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am. There it is. But you see, it keeps coming back. And we have a determined too. It's probably easier to do this. There's 20 million right there with a rifle build. Now that I think about it, because I like to run and gun, and it's easier to do it with the rifle than the sniper, anyways. See, they're not even looking at me, right? And so that's why I can run with no armor. But you just got to tend to this. You got to make sure it doesn't run out of duration before you reset it. And if you go this way, you might be able to run... get out a sharpshooter if you want to. I mean, it helps because it does actually give you damage because of the extra headshot damage it gives you and handling and all that. But if you wanted to, you could run gunner or even technician and turn your thing into a 2 skill tier. But gunner would probably be the one that's more worth it because we have no armor on kill. See that? Tricky. I mean, it's a little tedious to crush it all the time, but you don't have to move as much as I do, right? Like, I'm just always on the go. I mean, you feel like a ghost. I mean, this is how you be invisible in the Division. I mean, I'm a ghost. I mean, I'm not running any armor. I'm spending full time out of cover. And you know, oh, I just figured out something that makes it even better. Did you guys just catch that? What just happened? Watch. Destroying your turret refreshes your golden bullet. So I can infinitely refresh my golden bullet.
Supply room access.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I didn't think about that before. Have you seen that? So you can infinitely refresh your golden bullet without killing anybody. Because breaking down your skills refreshes your golden bullet. So I'll do it with the other skill now, right? So you can do back to back, right? If you don't want it to be your decoy for some reason, you could just crush your other skill, right? It's not super. I mean, you're not going to do that during gameplay. I mean, I'm doing it anyways by default. Because I'm always crushing and moving my skill, so it does pay off, but it's really useful, like in control points when you're running from like across a control point. You want to save your. I use it all the time, even on other builds. I crush my decoy to prolong the golden bullets so I can get to the enemies in time. The backpack skin, that is. It's called. I forget what it's called. Ward. I like it. It's compact. That's why I like it. Nice little boxy. Yeah, Zephyr. It's a completely weird build. Completely weird. And so, but I want to make it like really user friendly. And so I think the rifle was a big change. And then we'll try the D50 also, because that will also make it a big change. And then we'll start bringing in defense. So I don't have added defense, but it would be nice to get some sort of bonus armor. I just don't know how to do that. You could put on preservation, but determined is so valuable. Yeah, so that's the downside of the build is that, oh, you can't run Bloodsucker and you can't run the Memento. You can't run Adrenaline Rush. So all the bonus armor is out. But what does make sense now that I think about it is that we can now run the shield because we're running the rifle. So we can put the shield on. And that gives us an extra 2 million in armor. And I can run an armor core too. But we don't really need a bunch of armor. I just need to, what I need to prevent is, it's just micro damage is what I need to stop. You know what I mean? So, but not like overall damage, because like, but we need a way to heal, and the fixer seems to be doing the job. I mean, we didn't get in any real trouble there. You know what I mean? So we might be okay just like this. I mean, I don't want to lose attack 50. We can. If I do, then I'd have to switch over to the Nemesis here, which is more of a pain in the butt to use. Attack 50 is nice and easy. But if I use the shield, I lose the fixer, right? And so what we could try to do is run 2-piece Brazos instead, and try to get 10% armor on kill plus the regen. And so let's do that and see if we can still pull this off. I didn't mean Brazos, I meant Bellstone. But I know you speak Tux, so I don't have to translate, do I? Stash issues. I still need to delete my stash. Yes. Yo, so delete your stash. Reminder, friendly reminder. Delete your stash. Clean your stash before by the end of Tuesday, before Wednesday, or you will regret it. Trust me, because the grind, you don't want to go into the incursion game mode with the full stash, probably. You know what I mean? I don't know what kind of loot situation it's going to be, but I think that there might not. Is it possible? What do you guys think? Is it possible the loot will not drop like raids? And it's all going to be a cash system? Do you think that's possible? I think so. I don't know if they're going to do that, but because you don't want to stop to pick up your loot, it slows down the raid or the incursion. And so they might have that integrated, and it's all the rewards are through points or end caches. All right, let's try this one. It should work. It's just a matter of damage. And so I don't care about the golden bullet damage. I'm looking at the damage without the golden bullet. And so, you know, what we need to be able to hit is right out of cover, we need to be able to hit 10 million with the TAC 50, which we should be able to do that. And then from there, we need to be able to one-shot kill an elite with our rifle. And then we'll take a... fucking forget. This has got the wrong talent. I'll change it after this. But I want to test the pistol, because pistol builds are really fun, too, because you can put up the bulwark shield if you need to.
Hostile control point identified. Hostile assembling golden bullet.
So we're gonna do a damage check, and that's gonna tell me how much defense I can run on my build. Ooh, he moved fast, didn't he? Did you see how fast he turned? Fuck, look at him run. Damn. You guys got some moves.
Golden bullet received.
See the shield, so I got the golden bullet, so it's not really the damage numbers I need to be looking at, but okay, 16 million. Really? Really? The little bit of armor on kill is very helpful, I think. You know, 10%. It's not like crazy armor on kill, but it with the build that kills really well, that's all you need. Exotic. Yeah, I like this better. Way better. No fixer needed. Got a tad bit of armor. More importantly, that armor on kill is just enough. I might even be able to get rid of the shield. It's pretty good. Something happened. Hold up, hold up. Completely lost. They went immune or something. Oh, the golden bullet also gives you unlimited. Really? Oh my god, he's that gets really old. Because I don't know if I'm missing or if he's immune, and it turns out he's immune. See, I refreshed my golden bullet right there. So I'll turn. And he's immune. God damn. Refreshing my golden bullet. Unlimited golden bullet. That's a ton of survivability right there. So, I mean, all the survivability you need. A fast time to kill, 10% armor kill, 1% armor regen, unlimited decoy. I think if we could just find a better rigger, what do I need? Backpack? Yeah, I don't think we need a handling. You could also run foxes, but we just don't have the slot. And I'd rather have the armor on kill.
Civilians in danger.
So let's see. I think there's a mask. What do you think? The coyotes? No, it doesn't look like the coyotes. I'm thinking it's going to be the vial. It's the catharsis. So let's test out the pistol. And see, it doesn't sound like it's a big change, but you can like really, it could really change. You like, because pistols are really fast. And so the way they play is really fast. So faster to acquire targets and, you know, all that fun stuff. So it can make you even more, feel even more powerful if it can do its thing. Yeah, Kool-Aid man, what are your thoughts? Or what's the rumor? You getting emails from Reddit on that? Okay, recalibration pistols. I'm gonna put on determined. So rifles and pistols are kind of the same when it comes to like directives and because I mean pistols you have unlimited ammo and works with pistolero of course, but rifles you get so much ammo and you're killing with so little ammo that ammo's not really an issue. So it allows you to run pistolero or the other one. So it's the difference is really range. Otherwise, and then base damage. So this one's got a higher base damage than this. And so that can be the make it or break it for the pistols. It doesn't have enough base damage to do what your build wants to do. I suspect it does here because we're running a lot of red cores, but I'm gonna start backing that down once I get this, which is really soon here. I just want to test the pistol. Oh, good. Yeah, that's a rumor, Kool-Aid. That's not right. Cleaners aren't immune to fire. I mean, the bosses. But you can catch cleaners on fire. I'm trying to picture cleaners right now in my head. But you can use their fire against them, right? Ooh. Fuck. Where is this guy? Oh, that was mean. His jump. Okay, let me switch to my pistol now. So I gotta reacquire. Ooh, that wasn't enough. Let's try that again. Damn. We need to test it on an elite. It should work. But technically, you want it to really, when you're testing, you really want it to be your second kill. Oh my god, look at that shit. Nope. It's too weak. By a lot. It's too weak by like 1.5 million. So pistols are out. That's the strongest pistol outside of the Regulus. Regulator. Can we rename it to the Regulator? About as good as that does. Oh, it's so bullshit. He's gonna get me again. Oh, yeah, we got him, but got ourselves too.
Agent killed.
I'm pretty sure that they're like most of that new gear's been tested in the incursions too, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, so in Countdown, when they delivered Countdown, for example, they gave us Heartbreaker and all that stuff, but Heartbreaker was eventually determined to be too powerful, and they nerfed it. But I don't think they realized that because they tested it so frequently in Countdown, where the enemies are so bullet spongy, it wasn't appearing to be so. Okay, so I'm gonna add on 1 protection from elites, and then I need to farm a better backpack. So I don't think Rigger's on the table, so I'm gonna craft one real quick if I can. Nope, wrong one again. There it is. So we just need headshot damage to see if it'll give it up. By getting headshot damage on here, it opens up my mod slots. So I can put on more protection from elites. And they love to give me crit chance. I don't have a lot of backpack space to be crafting, though. It's a problem. Yeah, but the cleaners aren't immune to fire. Because you can use the fire against them. But I know what you mean. But I'm pretty sure that'd be dumb. That'd be a big bonehead move on the devs' part if they made all the cleaners immune to fire and then they gave us a gear set that was all about fire. I'm pretty sure that gear set is specifically designed. Oops, I didn't need these. What am I looking at? Specifically designed for that game mode. That's normally kind of how they develop it when they're delivering a new game mode. They're like celebrating it, you know? And they go sort of all in. So yeah, if the enemies weren't catching on fire, then they'd be working on the gear set and give us a different one. But I don't think there's any enemy out there that's immune to status effects. I mean, the cleaners can catch on fire. I mean, the outcasts. And they're fire people too. Yeah, like Honey is. Honey agrees. I wish there were cleaners out here we could test, but that would require me going all the way to New York. There it is. Yay. Okay. Over here, recal, backpack. And they would put the headshot damage back on. Fire eaters. Okay, and I can put on another protection from elites. Like I find protection from elites will be a little bit more useful than just straight up armor because we don't have bonus armor. So I just need a little resistance and make sure my shield's not breaking, which hasn't been an issue. So I'm cool with doing it this way. But you can run more armor. And if I did, it would be for the shield to make sure the shield is stronger. Really, that's one armor core for a build that's killing like it does, then is good enough. But like the situations where I've died, having an extra armor core wouldn't have stopped it, you know? Because they were usually that grenadier. And the reason why is because determined, I have determined active, and it doesn't allow me to transfer to his weak point. And he's got a very strong helmet, that grenadier guy. And so I sit there and I go, what do I want to do? You know, hammer it out, lose determined, or, you know, and by that time he's on me. He's on me.
Hostile has full bullet. Reinforcements en route. Received. Golden bullet.
So we're still getting the job done without golden bullet. It's good news. Sometimes I'm just too slow up trying to break that. Give me somebody to kill. Too late.
Hostile broadcast detected.
Sucker! Did you see that? The way his body fell was perfect.
Heavily armored.
Mr. Found. No. I hate when I do that. Double deploy. Come here, fucker. I'm gonna let it TAC 50 decoy, actually. I mean, specific to Golden Bullet, but... Oh, come on. That's fucking bullshit.
Agent down.
He moved his fucking head, just his head, not his body.
Incoming hostiles detected.
Double kill. Oh my god.
The golden bullet. Serious trauma detected.
Oh, that Golden Bullet fucking hurts. Jesus. TAC 50 is a little too slow. Because you can't throw your decoy because of the slow animation. But it was nice in theory. Yeah, overall, I think that's the build. I mean, we turn off the golden bullet to finalize, but I could see, you know, when we don't have the golden bullet, that it's working.
Golden bullet being assembled by hostile. Golden bullet active.
God, she gets you to miss a lot of shots.
Supply room access. Detecting additional hostile contacts. Incoming hostiles detected.
How many bodies are on that layer? Halfway. The way they fell was funny. It's like stacking pancakes. Oof. Jesus Christ. Burn your retinas. You saw that too, huh? Yeah, the gunplay is pretty damn good, right? World's worst gaming. Funny title, by the way. The Division got that right, man. You know? Yeah, I'm playing Starfield 2, and it's actually got pretty good combat in there as well. But the Division's got it right, especially for third person, you know? I think it's pretty hard to find really good third person shooters. I mean, there's always, no game is perfect, you know, so every game has got something that could be enhanced or changed or whatever, but I think we need more variety of weapons. I think would be good at this stage. And then I'm not just talking about exotics, you know, I mean, it just, give us more variations. I mean, on one hand, you don't want that because, you know, it clutters up RNG, and that's a challenge. You know, it's, you know, like the devs say, they never delete anything in this game when it comes to gear, and that's kind of starts to become a mistake after a while, right? It's cool for a minute because you're like, oh, right, all this selection, but after a while, for RNG purposes and farming, oh. I get you, Kool-Aid. That would be crazy, though, man. We'll have to see. I mean, I don't know. I don't think having an enemy immune to anything is very smart, especially coming up with a gear set that you can't even use in the incursion. That would be a bad mistake. Yeah, I wish they did more with melee, too. I mean, a lot of games build that in as a natural mechanic. It makes sense from a lore perspective. For RPG perspective, you're gonna have melee things. You know, it's just we should have little axes and fucking ninja sword. You know, I want a samurai. I would totally grab a samurai, or like maybe some nunchucks. Really? That fucking missed you? It did. I don't know what the fuck. Oh, she's so annoying. She did not want to die. Why didn't she die? What the hell is going on? That fucking fire is still going in the background. Idiot. So she gets though. Look at that. Why aren't they dying all of a sudden? Did I change my build? I mean, those are headshots with the TAC 50 and they're not dying? What changed?
Keep an eye on our flank.
Refreshed.
9.3. I mean, I put on a protection from elites mod, but that was before we did the last control point. Huh. Oh, that was the boss I shot first. That was a problem. Oh, God. I got slaughtered there. That's where bonus armor would be helpful, but that golden bullet hurts, man. Golden bullet game mode comes with the cost, man. It really does. I probably die more with the golden bullet game mode than any other game mode in the game. Jesus. What the? Oh, we're having some good ones, man. That was a good one. Oh man, double turrets back here? These fuckers, man. Why are the... Oh, he's I thought he was gonna be immune. Better heal up.
Detecting additional hostile contacts.
Why? Why won't you let me kill you? Takes like 3 seconds to break your skill. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier. I think they do the good AI. I think people really appreciate the challenge. But I was watching an interview the other day from Tom Howard, and he was talking about balancing NPCs, that whole game. And basically how they, in the end they decided to dumb down the NPCs because you don't want them just wailing on the user, and it becomes really difficult, right? So you have to kind of make them dumb. And it was a really good point, I thought, and it also what separates the division, because our NPCs aren't dumb, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. I think it makes it a little challenging for the devs they don't have any control over that anymore, I don't know why my gun is being holstered. Oh, I see. Accidentally switched to my special weapon. So yeah, they it makes it really hard to balance out the NPCs because they're so smart. They can't. They don't have any control over how smart they are. I think that's code in the game where that you know, Massive has a hard time working on nowadays because they don't have the personnel who's familiar with the code, and so when they try to go in there, I think they end up breaking it. I think we've seen that happen a few times, so they stay away from that code, I think. Why do they keep becoming like immune? I keep losing my headshot kill capability. Yeah, that's a problem. I need to, they're just under. I can put back on my headshot mod. I think something changed. Really? Why am I taking damage from you now? God, where'd you come from? Dude, leave me alone. You killed a guy in the back too?
Heavily armored hostile detected.
Where's she playing dead? Should I double tap? She's like, oh shit, that looks scary. I'm dead. Possum mode, new status effect.
Don't stay in place. Let's see.
Damn. They're wailing on me. Oh no, they're behind me. No. Oh. Oh wow, good angle. Damn. You can't see him, but you can see me. Yeah, I mean, so they're really smart. So it comes down to like, you know. So yeah, as far as challenging go, let me just kill myself here. It'll take forever. So they're really smart. So it's like, that's what's different. Like a lot of games, like you're fighting, like some games you're fighting a bunch of bugs, right? Let's just say. And you know, they're dumb bugs. They just come at you and it's just, you know, a slaughter fest for you, but they usually get you by quantity and tankiness and all that stuff, right? So, but they're not really that smart. And so a lot of the NPCs you encounter in a lot of games are really not that smart, but they can be strong. You encounter levels of strength in all the enemies in different games, right? And so, but when they're smart and they hit hard and they're tanky, which is what we got all three of those things. It makes it a very formidable foe, right? But also also very frustrating because all three of those things together is both what makes the game fun and also what makes it not fun for many different degrees, right? Because like we were talking about this earlier because we were talking about the game modes and the new incursion and how I was so happy that the new incursion is coming with a 4-man group, because if it was an 8-man group, the enemies would be too goddamn tanky, you know? And it's just like, and that's what sucks about Countdown. Countdown's really cool and it's a great farm, but the enemies are so tanky. It's like, oh God, it's just not fun. I don't care what build you're running in there. It's just too many bullets to kill an enemy, you know? And it's just not very enjoyable. And sometimes you don't notice it because you're running around in a group of 8v1, and you know, and it seems like you got a good time to kill, but that's because 7 other people are shooting at your target. You know, so, you know, but that takes away from the fun too, because you want your kills, you know, You want to rack them up. You can put another notch on ye old belt. And so you can't do that when some other people are killing it, shooting at your target. So that sucks, right? It sucks when the NPCs are that tanky. And so that's the world we live in, is where our enemies are all three. And so, but what they've given us is tech to counter that. But yeah, there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room. And the scaling is really bad in the game too. I mean, so it doesn't get better in group, it gets worse. And you'd think it would be the opposite, right? It should get better in group. It should get better, but it gets worse. Because the way they handle it, it's just like, okay, so as a group, you don't get stronger. I mean, you should get more incentives. I mean, that'd be a big change. You want this game to go further? Like, you want to win hearts and minds? You need to reward the player base for grouping up, not punish them. We are punished for grouping up, you know? I mean, there's some build synergies and stuff like that that are, you know, whatever. But like, I mean, you get like a little bit of ammo regeneration. Basically, just the talents that come out of the specialization is the only reward that you get for grouping up from a power perspective. But the scaling ridiculously outperforms that, the enemy scaling, you know? So their damage to you goes up the more allies you have, and their health goes up the more allies you have. So that's crazy. And in some cases, the quantity of enemies that you fight goes up too. And then their aggressiveness goes up as well. So it's not just their stats, but how aggressive they are. And I was testing LMGs several seasons ago, and I was testing the talent suppression, the overwhelm talent where you can suppress enemies. And solo was pretty easy to suppress. But when I got into group, the talent basically didn't function because the enemies were so aggressive. Trying to suppress them was really hard. They wouldn't suppress. And so you're being punished. It feels like a punishment to group up in this game, you know? Heroic 4 player feels worse than legendary. I think it's worse than legendary. You know, I really feel like that. Like, I feel like legendary scaling seems about right. It's kind of as expected. Everybody's hard to kill. They're a pain in the ass. There's a couple of things that I think they need to tone down a little bit. One is the healing stations. There shouldn't be a healing station like that in the game. That is a bad idea from a player enjoyment perspective, player satisfaction. Like I love a really good challenge, but healing stations times 3 layered on top of each other, hidden places that have overpowered heals on an enemy that has 30,000 in armor is crazy talk. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. Who does that in a game? I mean, come on, devs. That's the stupidest thing ever. It's just stupid. You know, you can't layer and then hide healing stations and then put it on like the most difficult enemies in the game. I mean, a little healing is okay, but like, Jesus, you know, you could be a whole team of 4 with the best DPS in the game could be wailing on the same target and not bring him down in some scenarios. And that's crazy. It's just, he's not the Terminator. He doesn't have a titanium core. You know what I mean? He's digital flesh and bone. My bullet should penetrate him. But he's healing through it. And it's ridiculous, you know? I literally think, I mean, if you look at the scaling, I should have it here. Like, if you look at the scaling, you know, it's a little bit more realistic and legendary, you know? It's high, but a 4-man elite Look at the jumps. You know, look at the jumps. Look at the 3-man elite. Let me see here if I'm looking at this right. Let me find the challenging. Where's a good example? Legendary top. We're in the top side of things here. Yeah, that's right. You can't do this without breaking out the calculator. I mean, the scaling is basically the same. Wait, what am I reading here? Oh, let's see here. Looking at just the elite column and legendary. So it's the base damage that changes, obviously. So they start out stronger and legendary. And then the 4-man is 1.7, whether you're in heroic or legendary. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah. It's not really this. It's not really this. What it is it's the quantity of elites that you encounter. That's the difference. So the scaling is the same. It's the same percentages. So which are at the bottom. The group scaling factors at the bottom half. So it's the same no matter what. You know, you add your solo, it's a factor of 1, then you got 1.2, 1.4, 1.7. So that's always the same. It's what I'm thinking here is that with legendaries, the quantity of elites is the exact opposite of heroic. So basically, as a total health pool out of all the enemies that are on the field at the point when you start a checkpoint in legendary, it's probably equivalent to the same amount as a control point in heroic when it comes to total health pool, because heroic, although it's less base damage or less base HP that the enemy has. So in heroic, this is looking at a single man scenario, you're at 9.8 million, and legendary and elite is at 14.7 million, right? But in heroic, you got like, I don't know what, like 30 to 45 elites. And then on legendary, you got 2 elites. That's right. 2 in that first checkpoint. Now, it does vary per checkpoint, but it's really low like that. So if I always use District Union as a good example. So you got 1 elite grenadier, and you have 1 elite technician, and that's it. And the technician comes with the tank. So if you want to count that, that's 3. So 3 elites in the entire first checkpoint. And then you get the 2 chungas, which are also elites. So in the first checkpoint, you get 4/5 elites, if you count the tank, versus the other 35, 40 enemies across those 3 waves, right? So as a percentage, that's really low. Really low, and every room is like that. There's like 1 or 2 elites, 1 or 2 elites, and so it's a little bit more realistic, and that's why I say, and I recognize this as a sniper in a Division 2, because I always say it's actually easier to snipe in legendary than it is in heroic, because in legendary you're dealing with less elites, which means it's easier to get that one-shot head kill, chain kill rolling. Because you don't have to worry about the elites with their high armor hitting starting at values of 15 million. So you only got 1 or 2 of them. You can save them for last, and you're gonna pick up your chain kill damage, which is gonna be hitting over 20 million anyways. Yeah, so I mean, I hate group mode in this game mode. It wasn't, it's in legendary. I love it. It's I prefer it, but in heroic content, it's just like, oh, unless there's some sort of like manhunt or special event like that, or obviously incursions, or but like even descent sucks in a group mode. You know what I mean? Descent's worse in group mode. Countdown obviously is better in group mode. Legendaries are really better in group mode, but heroic missions, I prefer just to run them solo. Control points solo. I mean, I think it used to be different, like back in the day for me. Like, I felt like the heroic content like required 4-man groups. Like, I really felt like that. And a lot's changed since then. And so like Tidal Basin, when it was like the ultimate a place to play, it was like the ultimate end game content. You know what I mean? So you had raids, but there weren't any legendaries. And so, you know, when it came to like that end game place to go, it was Tidal Basin. I played Tidal Basin like a bazillion times, you know, and then they eventually came out with legendaries, and then they turned Tidal Basin into a legendary. But like, so back in the day, like heroic was really hard, and like, you know, it was a little bit more enjoyable to play as a team in heroic. You needed it, you know, and these are the days where we min-maxed everything. So like, you know, it was 2 pieces of Providence, a Grupo, a Cheska, Foxes, and the Contractors. You know, that was what you ran, you know, an assault rifle and the M1A. I mean, it's just like you didn't even have a choice. You didn't even have a choice. I mean, Strikers didn't exist. Heartbreaker didn't exist. Hunter's Fury didn't exist. Nothing existed. You know, there was a version of Negotiators. Negotiators existed. True Patriot existed, but wasn't that helpful for this case. You know what I mean? So it's just like Eclipse didn't exist. That's what you ran. That's what you ran. But at the same time, you had to. It was like, I remember Invaded, you know, doing the Invadeds every Tuesday, and man, it was hard. You guys remember how hard Invadeds used to be? And I mean, it's still tough. It's still tough, but like, man, we'd be at like I can't remember what it was. The one where you had to rescue the president. What mission is that? Which one is that? Is it the hotel? No, it's the bank. Yeah, it's the bank. Yeah, where you rescue the president. And like, I remember that end phase, that end fight was hard. You know, you get stuck in the hallway sometimes and have to fight with just the one door open. Do you guys remember that? Oh my God, it was hard. It was hard. Who are you fighting in that mission? That was Tusk, obviously. It was the Tusk. So yeah, the Chunga would come in there sometimes, and it was end of game. Thanks, Wild. That's right, the bank. You guys are rock. You know, you speak Tux. Yeah, so it was like, man, do you guys remember those days? Like they'd send a Chunga would slowly make his way to you, and if he made it in that hallway, there was nowhere for you to go. It was just like you would literally cower in the corner and hope he doesn't see you as he's killing your friend. That's what would happen in that situation. It was just like you would like split up and everybody would take a corner. There was nowhere to go. You couldn't jump back up to the previous checkpoint. There's no escape. And you'd have to fight for that door, and they'd be launching grenades at you from distance. Remember? It was like a legendary. It felt like a legendary. Yeah, you had to hide behind those doors, and people would get mad at you if you opened both doors, you know? It was horribly hard. You know, I haven't played that mission, and maybe it's still like that in Invaded. You know, maybe it's still like that. But I feel like a lot's changed. They balanced the enemies, but they also gave us a lot more power. Not just by just like, here's more power. You know, they never really done that. They've rebalanced our weapons a couple of times, but they never really gave them more power. They just balanced them a little less, a little more, a little less, a little more. But what they did is they gave us a lot more build sets that add to our survivability. You know what I mean? That's what really changed in the game. From all perspectives, more bonus armor, more armor on kill solutions, more pure damage solutions and whatever. And so you didn't have to where back then, like, I mean, you guys probably, some of you probably still play like this because it was like, it's traditional. You would have a healer, a tank, a skill build, and a DPS guy. And sometimes it was a healer and a tank and 2 DPS. Sometimes it was 1 healer and 3 DPS, but something like that. You know, and the healer was almost always like wanted or needed. And, you know, that's how we used to have to play in legendary content, especially. That was like the formula. You know, now it's like you hardly see that at all, you know, or need it or want it. You know? And that's because whatever build you're running, you usually have a little bit of survivability built in, and you know, a healer can be a good save if you're getting your butt kicked a lot. But if you're a pretty decent player and you got a team that's in synergy, and you don't even have to be a master at this game, you don't need a healer. You're just a little bit of armor and kill, a couple med kits. $1 billion HP. I don't think so, Nuclear. That doesn't sound right. Because you can kill aggro with a single bullet that hits at 50 million. I mean, but that's just aggro. I don't know about the other ones. $1 billion's a lot. That's a big number. You know what I mean? It's more than you think. It's like visually, like if you like stacked up $1 billion versus 1 million versus 50 million, it's quite a bit different, you know? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know overall. I haven't really paid attention to some of the other bosses. But like I've done a lot of DUA, obviously, and there's a strategy where you can shoot aggro in his backpack with Headhunter, and it'll kill him in one shot if you have the 50 million stack, which is a sequence you have to go through. And so a lot of people use the Regulus to do that. But you can also do it with the Nemesis if you're quick. And I can't quite remember the sequence. You can do it with the shotgun too. I think you can do it with the M870, actually. I've never personally done it, but I've seen a couple of videos of like solo speedrunners doing it, and group, obviously. In group you can too, obviously. You see a lot of group speedruns. There's this I believe Korean team, I can't remember their names anymore, but I used to watch a couple of their stuff early on, and yeah, it was pretty interesting. And I took some of those things and used it in my gameplay in Legendary. Like that, they were the ones that opened me up to the possibility of killing all the warhounds in a single shot, and I use that in my gameplay, solo Legendary gameplay. So I'd go up the stairs when you go up to the second floor in District Union for the first time. There's those 2 warhounds, so I'd pull some right away so they fall right on top of each other, and then whip out my TAC-50 and shoot through both their legs, and they would both die with a single bullet. And that's because you'd carry over a Headhunter from the previous checkpoint, and you got 30 seconds to go from one checkpoint to the next and land that shot, which is usually plenty of time because you just got to run up a few stairs. So it's you know, as long as you're not standing around, right? So it's really interesting. And so I've seen these guys do the same thing against aggro. Well, they'll hit him with the Nemesis, and I've seen them double Nemesis it. So like one they do, because he's, I think 1 shot, 2 shots, 1 in case they miss, I think is what they do. I can't remember. Right on, World's Worst Gaming. Yeah, I don't know, but $1 billion sounds like too much. I remember when they first came out with Hotshot, it was broken. And there were streams where people were going around shooting everything at like $1 billion. It was 999999999. You remember that? And so people were showing off, look at, I'm hitting for $1 billion, I'm hitting for $1 billion. It was like maxing out the damage, which is all 9s. So it's all 9s, right? When you max out the damage. And so that was with Hotshot. So Hotshot had some crazy stacking thing, and it never left the PTS that way. They fixed it in before they released it, but in PTS it was stacking like crazy. That wasn't that long ago, right? Hot Shots was 3 seasons ago. 2 seasons, season 11. So yeah, so 2 seasons. So yeah, people were hitting at 1 billion. Yeah, it was insane. So I'm wondering if that's why they think that, because if you're hitting at 1 billion, it doesn't show the real damage. It just shows what you peak at. Another example of that is the Sweet Dreams. So if you ever watch your damage numbers when you hit somebody with the Sweet Dreams, it's a crazy high damage number. It's like 9999. It's crazy high. It's like I don't remember what it is, but it's a bunch of nines too. It might even be 1 billion. I can't remember what it is though. But it's a bunch of red nines when you Sweet Dream somebody. And I think that's how they ensure that you can do it. But yeah, anyway, so I'm going to take off now, guys. But hey, let me know in the comments section if you have any requests for tomorrow's stream. But as far as this build goes, I'm liking it. I think it's pretty cool. I got to test it outside of the game mode, and so I'm just kind of working on my red star scenario here. But so the game mode, it can be a little bit tough because you get hit by a golden bullet. It hurts. But I got to test it. I'm going to wait till the event's over, and I'll test it. Or I don't know. But I'm thinking a shotgun. I'm thinking a shotgun build for tomorrow. I want to spend more time with shotguns. I might turn off the golden bullet. I mean, I love the golden bullet. I love red stars, but I don't really need them. And it kind of I don't get true values on the builds we're making, and I like longevity on the builds. And I feel like we have our golden bullet builds, and you should just have fun with golden bullet, you know? So I like giving you guys ideas at the beginning of a golden bullet event, but from there, it's just, hey, catch me on the stream. Let's see what we're running. All right, guys, we will be streaming tomorrow night. So if you have any requests, appreciate your comments down below. And let's keep the chatter going. Keep the hype going. We're almost there. We will be streaming live on Monday morning if I don't catch you tomorrow. And then going live first thing, hopefully at 4 in the morning, my time, for season 2 on Wednesday. All right, y'all. Catch you later. Have a good night.